If you want to be a good freestyle skier, you obviously need to learn to ski backwards, or as we call it, switch. Just as there are levels that you go through when learning to ski forwards, there are also levels that you go through when skiing backwards. These are the 3 levels of switch skiing. At this level, you are just starting your switch skiing journey. There are 3 main things you need to focus on at the beginning. While you're doing your turns, you should start off using a snowplow. This is going to make it a bit easier and give you more control over your speed. Just like when you're skiing forwards, putting pressure on the outside foot will make that become the downhill foot and cause your turn to drive around. But the most important thing of all at this stage is to make sure that you're looking over the outside shoulder. As you are turning clockwise, you want to look over your right shoulder. And as you swap to turning anti-clockwise, you want to swap to looking over your left shoulder. And if you can ski forwards properly, this should be very easy. At this stage, you're starting to get quite comfortable skiing backwards. The main differences between this point and the stage before are these. Your skis will now be staying parallel the whole time. No more pesky snowplows, you punter. As you look over your shoulder, you're going to start to rotate your body a lot more to make sure that you can get a better view of down the hill. Make sure that your shoulder doesn't get in the way. You will now also be starting to do what's called splicing. This helps get your upper body rotated even further around to make your vision more clear. You need to make sure it's your outside ski that you're pushing back during the splice. So at the same time as you swap shoulders during your turns, you should also swap the side of your splice. You can now also start to apply a bit more shin pressure when you're going at faster speeds, and this will give you a bit more edge control. Now once you've got to this stage and it's getting a bit more comfy to ski backwards, you can start trying some tricks off jumps and onto rails. You should be able to go comfortably from switch 180s all the way up to switch 720s. Make sure to do them looking over both shoulders. At this stage, skiing switch starts to get more enjoyable than skiing forwards. You're going to be whizzing past other skiers and the groomers at high speeds. You've now figured out how to carve properly skiing switch, and you're going to be able to start to get a lot more of a lean into those turns. And you don't swap shoulders as you turn. This allows you to get a lot more speed and do some big wide turns along the hill. Obviously, when you're doing tricks off of jumps, you might need to swap shoulder to spin the correct direction. You also might need to swap shoulders to get a better view of other people on the slope. To get a bit more edge pressure, you can push your shins in even harder, and this is when you can start to get a hip hinge, as you see some athletes doing. This does block off your vision a little bit, but it gives you more stability at higher speeds. You're now going to be able to have massive progression on the jumps and rails. You can try adding carve into your takeoff switch, which is going to make corking really fun. Going off axis is going to be a lot easier at this stage when you're switch, and landing big trick switch as well is going to be no issue. Whoa, a bonus for you. There's a 4th level, but this one's kind of different. Skiing switch and powder. If you're in some deep powder, you need to have so much nose pressure if you're going backwards. You should be pretty much doing a nose press. The only time you're ever really going to be skiing switch and powder is if you've just done a trick that involves a switch landing. But nonetheless, some people can do it, and it's real tough. It doesn't get much more difficult than this. What level of switch skiing are you at? Let me know below. And if you want any help getting up a few levels, send me in some clips and I can give you some advice. Cheers.